What happens when the face of the WNBA isn't on the floor, and her team suddenly looks better without her? That's the shocking question hanging over the league right now, because the Indiana Fever just did the unthinkable. They dominated the Minnesota Lynx, won their third straight game, and they did it while missing not just Caitlin Clark, but 5 rotation players. And then, in the locker room afterward, Kelsey Mitchell dropped 4 words that had the entire team buzzing. "You've seen our growth." Those words weren't about her, even though she's in the middle of the best scoring season in franchise history. They were about the Fever as a whole, a team that's gone from written off to playoff ready in just weeks. So today we're breaking it all down. The comeback no one saw coming, Kelsey Mitchell's rise into the MVP conversation, and why Indiana might be the most dangerous playoff sleeper in years. Stay locked in, because this one is going to rattle some WNBA fans. Just a couple of weeks ago, Indiana looked finished. They had lost 4 of 5, their playoff hopes were hanging by a thread, and suddenly the injury report read like a nightmare. Caitlin Clark? Out. Sophie Cunningham? Out. Sydney Colson, Chloe Beebe, Ari McDonald? All out. That's 5 rotation players gone. Most teams in that situation don't just struggle, they completely collapse. Fans were asking if the Fever would even have enough healthy bodies to compete, let alone to win games against top-tier competition. But instead of drowning in injuries, Indiana found another gear. They reinvented themselves on the fly, and the results are shocking. Head coach Stephanie White didn't let her team spiral. She gave them a mantra: be where your feet are. That sounds simple, but it became everything. Forget about who isn't playing. Forget about what's gone wrong. Focus on what's in front of you. This possession, this matchup, this moment. And suddenly, the Fever weren't making excuses. They were making statements. Against Minnesota, Indiana came out swinging. They stormed to a 10-0 lead right out of the gate, setting a tempo that shocked the Lynx. The defense was smothering. Loose balls were theirs. Rebounds belonged to Indiana. And the shots? Falling all over the floor. It wasn't pretty basketball, it was relentless basketball. A team playing with desperation, but also with belief. And in that moment, the Fever flipped their narrative. Instead of a roster begging for Clark to save them, they were a team proving they could win without her. This wasn't a one-woman show. It was depth, balance, and trust. Aaliyah Boston looked unstoppable, tying her own rebounding record and running offense out of the post like a guard in a center's body. Odyssey Sims, once written off, came off the bench for 15 points and called it her fresh start. Aerial Powers nailed back-to-back threes in the fourth that buried Minnesota's comeback hopes. Lexi Hull was everywhere, switching on defense, contesting shots, and still finding ways to chip in offensively. Natasha Howard quietly balanced the front court, stretching the floor and letting Boston dominate without carrying every possession. By the end of the game, 5 players had scored in double figures. That's not a fluke, that's an identity. And then, of course, there's Kelsey Mitchell. For the first time in franchise history, Indiana has a player averaging over 20 points per game across a season. Mitchell isn't just scoring, she's carrying the Fever through chaos. Every defense is keyed on her. Double teams, traps, denials. It doesn't matter. Mitchell has matured to another level. She knows when to attack, when to swing the ball, and when to calm her team down. That balance between scoring and trusting her teammates is exactly why players like Sims and Powers look so comfortable stepping into big shots. Indiana isn't just Kelsey Mitchell's team. It's her vision. But what's got people talking isn't just her points. After the win in the locker room, Mitchell looked around and told her teammates, "You've seen our growth." Those 4 words hit harder than a box score. They weren't about her record-breaking stats. They weren't about her MVP campaign. They were about the team, a group that's been doubted, dismissed, and tested all season long. And yet, instead of folding, they've grown. They've become a team that can beat anyone, with or without Caitlin Clark. With that win, Indiana secured their first winning record since 2015. Think about that. Nearly a decade of struggle, heartbreak, and irrelevance. And now, out of nowhere, they're not just winning games, they're rewriting their history. This isn't just a feel-good underdog story anymore. It's a warning shot to the entire WNBA. Now, let's be clear. Caitlin Clark hasn't disappeared. Every game, she's on the bench, analyzing plays, talking to teammates, and keeping the energy alive. She's still the face of the league. She's still the superstar. But when she returns next season, she won't be stepping into the same team she left. She'll be stepping into a roster with playoff experience, depth, and confidence, and that changes everything. Here's the bottom line. Kelsey Mitchell is having the best individual season in franchise history. Aaliyah Boston is anchoring the front court like a generational big. The bench is alive with players like Sims and Powers proving they can change games. Stephanie White has shifted the culture from just survive to expect to win. And now, the Fever are staring at a playoff run that seemed impossible weeks ago. This season was supposed to be about setbacks. Instead, it's become about resilience, growth, and rewriting expectations. So here's the real question for WNBA fans. Is Kelsey Mitchell just saving the season? Or is she laying the foundation for a championship window nobody thought Indiana would have this soon? Because one thing is clear. The Fever aren't just building for the future anymore. They're ready to win right now. And when Caitlin Clark comes back to a team that already believes in itself, the rest of the league better be ready. If you're fired up for the Fever, drop it in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss what's next. This team isn't just chasing the playoffs, they're chasing history.